Hey family, Dad here. Hope you're having a great day. On this video, just wanted to share why I use credit cards instead of debit cards. Now, I've used credit cards for decades now. I do have a debit card, but majority of the time I use credit cards. Now, the difference between a debit card and a credit card are, according to Investopedia, a debit card is a payment card that deducts money directly from your checking account. So anytime you use your debit card, that automatically comes out of your checking account. Versus a credit card, according to Investopedia, a credit card is a thin rectangular piece of plastic or metal issued by the bank or financial services that allows card holders to borrow funds with which to pay for goods and services with merchants that accept cards for payment. So essentially, if you have a credit card, you're using a line of credit on the bank. So my credit cards that I use is typically like American Express and as well with Capital One. So in essence, I use a Capital One credit card. I charge my card. I use my card at a shop. That charge goes against the bank versus directly through my checking account. And in turn, what I would do is I would pay off that credit line from Capital One with my checking account. So those are the differences between a debit card and a credit card. Debit card is linked directly to your checking account. So any kind of purchases, transactions that you make directly comes out of your checking account versus a credit card. A credit card, you charge a credit card at a store, at a shop or whatever. That charge goes against the bank, like a Capital One or American Express, whatever that credit card is tied to. And then in turn, you would pay that credit charge off eventually, before the payment is due. Now, I use cards pretty much 99% of the time, and for a few reasons. So number one is, I don't want my debit card number out in the world. Probably is out in the world already. I just want to minimize it. Since mainly because my debit card is linked to my checking account. If my account number is out there, then it can be potentially accessed, and then my money from my checking account would be compromised. And I don't want to do that. I want to minimize it as much as I can. So that's one of the reasons why I use a credit card. Number two reason is with a credit card, the account is mine and the line of credit is attached to the bank. So like I said earlier, it's not my checking account. It's the bank's line of credit that I'm using with the credit card. So if there is a compromise, a fraudulent charge, the bank will step up. And if I'm not responsible for any of the charges, then they will void those charges and there'll be no effect on my line of credit or my credit score or anything like that. And as well, again, with the credit card, my checking account is not involved. The only way it is involved is if I do charge something on the credit card, then before the due date the amount is due, I will pay it off using my checking account. And I consider myself a very fiscally responsible person. So any charges on my credit card, I pay it off every month. I don't incur any interest on my credit cards because I just don't want that. I consider myself very responsible, so pay it off before the due date so you don't accrue any other charges or interest. I also use credit cards for the added perks of earning points. Now I have two cards. I have the Capital One Venture card, and then I also have the American Express Gold card. Both earn points on purchases. The Venture card, I get 2x on every purchase. And then with the American Express Gold, I get 4x specifically for groceries and restaurants. Those are the primary reasons why I have these cards. So in my situation, I do pay annual fees on both those cards. I'm okay with that because I believe it is a good ROI, return on investment, paying those annual fees and the perks that I get for those cards. Now, you can qualify for a no annual fee credit card and hold yourself responsible to pay it off every month. And if it makes sense for you, then by all means get a credit card. Now, if you have some work to do to improve your credit, build discipline to pay off your credit card every month, or need to work on purchasing habits, then don't get a credit card. Create some good spending habits and good habits on paying off your credit cards consistently first. Make sure you use your debit card wisely. Check the machine to ensure it hasn't been tampered with. I've even heard it's probably even better to pay cash at certain locations like gas stations, convenience stores, etc. Now, I will use my debit card for certain small shops, vendors that only accept debit cards, Venmo, or cash. But majority of the time, pretty much like 95 to 99% of the time, I use credit cards and then I pay it off at the end of the month. And I don't incur any interest, any fees, or anything like that. So tell me more about you. What kind of credit cards do you have? Do you have credit cards? Do you just kind of swear by debit cards and cash? And why? Would love to hear your comments. Subscribe and like. I would really appreciate it. So that's all I got. Hope you learned a little bit. You have a great day.